What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. I'm going to write this up and do a whole feature on it on Power Play Insiders, probably today or tomorrow. But I figured I'd talk about, this week with Zach Sanford signing with the Washington Capitals. BC's latest departure to the National Hockey League. Obviously, after losing, Thatcher Demko, who was going to go pro anyway, and Alex Tuch. In Tuch's case, I think he could have used another year in college hockey, and I think Zach Sanford's case needed another year in college hockey. But with a lot of these guys, because of Jimmy Vesey, and we're going to call this the Jimmy Vesey effect, players that, could have really used another year of the collegiate development, I don't want to say getting pressured to sign, but maybe under other circumstances wouldn't have signed. Because teams are looking at the Vesey thing, and Jimmy Vesey is not the first college hockey player to elect free agency. Let's get that straight. And likewise, teams fuck kids over all the time. These pro teams. We drafted you, we held your rights, we don't want you anymore. Type stuff. So it's double-edged sword here. But the thing, I think Kevin Hayes a couple years ago was a perfect example. Difference is Kevin Hayes wanted to sign with the Blackhawks after his junior year. They didn't want him, and with Vesey, Nashville begged him to come out after his junior year. And he elected the other way. But the thing with to keep in mind is this is now fresh in the mind of teams everywhere, so they're going to be looking, going, oh shit, maybe if it's a 50-50 proposition, you sign them because you don't want to be facing you don't want to have the situation of a player walking out on you. For nothing, especially a player that you invested a draft pick in, developed, and did all of that for. So without further ado, let's look at some of the guys. Miles Wood is the one that stands out to me the most because you have to understand Wood was a draft pick in the New Jersey Devils, obviously, but he played 2 years of high school hockey after getting drafted, which is whatever. So by the time he got on campus at BC, it had already been 2 years since he'd been drafted, and that clock goes to 4 years. He had a very good freshman year at Boston College. New Jersey signed him at the end, and quite frankly, I think he needed another year of college hockey, even though he was very good as a freshman. And, the Devils didn't want to face the situation of him being a free agent next summer. They drafted, developed him. You don't want to lose him for nothing. So that's something to keep in mind. Likewise, we talked about Tuch, and I think Sanford's another one. He played a year of junior hockey after being drafted before he went on campus at BC, and I know he had a really good year this year at BC, but I think his game would have benefited from another year of college hockey. That's just my humble observation, and he's going to be in the AHL next year with the Cavs. Could he see some NHL time? Sure, why not? But again, I think one more year at Chestnut Hill would have done him some good, but given the fact that it's been 3 years since he was drafted, the Capitals don't want to be facing the proposition this time next year of, oh shit, we're going to lose him for nothing. So that's, I think those two guys would have been back in school under different circumstances, but Vesey's, situation was kind of a wake-up call not a wake-up call for teams, but, guys that probably would have been back in school are now signing pro contracts. So, again, I'm not saying every kid that jumped early was, because of Jimmy Vesey. I think, looking at it from the Buffalo Sabres perspective, Hudson Fashion was going pro one way or the other. There's some other guys on the list. JT Comper at Michigan. Obviously, his line mates Tyler Motti and Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor, okay hockey player. And I think McCoshen's... Actually, it's funny. Sanford and Wood's teammate Ian McCoshen. Another interesting situation because I think he would have been back at BC under different circumstances, but Florida wanted him in the worst way, which is weird considering they've really done their team over, and I don't think it's a spot for him to open, in the NHL next season. So, we'll see what happens with that, but it went till about a week and a half ago before he actually signed, and Florida was begging, pleading and whatever, please sign with us, because again, I think they also do not want to be in that situation that the Nashville Predators found themselves in with Vesey. But anyway, that's all I got. Sort of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the off season and beyond. Later, guys.